For the final time in 2024, it is time to go touring car racing at TC America, powered by Skip Barber. The site, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, opened in 1909, with the road course opening in 2000. That, of course, the venue we'll be using today for the season finale of the TC America season. 3 classes of touring cars ready to go at the end of an era for the championship. The TCA class will go away after today. TCX and TC will be combined into a single class looking ahead to 2025. But everyone looking to send off this class structure in style with all 3 championships already decided. Today, it's all about kissing the bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My name's Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside and making a cameo just a moment ago. You saw him. DJ Clark is down in the pits, deputizing for Amanda Busick. Let's go down to DJ now, who's standing amongst the touring car machinery on the grid.
Well, it's one of the best places to be on the grid, Ryan. We're absolutely wonderful to be here, but I want to start off by talking about a little bit of faults yesterday. We had quite a few reliability issues for the mini JCW teams, but before that happened, they looked devilishly quick out on this circuit. So if they're able to keep on going and they're able to finish this race, they could be real contenders for the prizes here today.
Appreciate that, DJ, and you're right. Those cars were fast on Friday, which was the first race of the weekend. We had to sit out yesterday with Indy 8-hour festivities taking up much of yesterday's track action. But both classes of the minis suffered some issues with punctures over the course of that first race. They've made some adjustments to try and compensate, so we'll see what they could do. They're pretty confident in the pace of their cars if they can keep the cars running reliably here today. Let's take a look, though, Calvin, at this circuit. 14 turns, just under 2.5 miles.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Indy, of course, and you look at the track configuration, it's really dominated by the 2 long straightaways there. You got a 3,000-foot run between the exit of turn 14 down into turn 1, about 2,400 down Hellman Boulevard. That's the stretch between turns 6 and 7. Surviving the first corners, turn 1 and 2, we've seen already today. There can be some action down there. So with these cool temperatures here, early start to the day, look out for that on the opening lap.
Certainly so. The first race of the weekend, it was a thriller in the TCX class. The battle between Celso Neto and Chris Walsh, they exchanged the lead seemingly 5 or 6 times in the course of that race. I hope we get to see a repeat of that today.
Oh, that was a thriller. Probably the best race of the championship season. Hopefully they can cut and paste that for this morning's event.
Yes. That was so much fun, and those two, they've been fighting with one another all year long, especially in the second half of the season as that new Acura Integra has hit its stride. You know, it's a bit of a shame the BMW is about to be out of homologation, so the Acura and the BMW, they seem so even now, and unfortunately, it's the swan song here for that BMW M2.
Yeah, and for Neto, he's now won 5 of the last 7 races, so Chris Walsh, dominant start to the year. That's given him the championship title, but there we see the 2 boys once again ready to duke it out. Acura seems to come alive early and then try to hang on to that track position.
Car 23 that's rolling by, the black BMW, that's Cameron Steller, who had, well, pardon the pun, a stellar debut. Never made a start in the championship before, just 16 years of age, finished on the podium in that first race. I thought showed some really good racecraft as well over the first 40-minute race.
Yeah, really exciting start to his debut here this weekend. So let's see what we can come up with, see if he can chase down the leaders, get a little bit closer to their pace.
In the TC class, Jeff Rica, what a story. Finally getting that first championship. He's been working at this for a really long time. Very emotional when he got that done at Barber Motorsports Park, and the emotions were just as strong when we talked to him in Victory Lane on Friday.
Yeah, and I think he was equally excited to see Hyundai sweep the podium here at Indianapolis. That's his 8th win on the championship season. He clinched it at Barber, of course, so he'd love to put that cherry on top of the cake today.
Many stories to keep an eye on over the course of this final 40-minute race of the season. And we'll do our best to keep tabs on them. Don't have to do any championship number crunching in this one. They've been done since the second race at Barber Motorsports Park a couple of weeks ago. So here in Indy, it's all about the glory of winning in this storied venue. This place is special. You can feel it when you walk in. You can feel it when you drive through the tunnel and under the racetrack. You think about the legends that have raced here and won here, and those that have tried and failed as well over the years. And it's a
Speaking of
who's
legends,
who.
You have one here, mate. What did you tell your dad this morning? How did you tune him up?
Well, I think I left him to his own devices. He said he's got a fast race car starting third out in the TCA class, and I think he's got his eyes on a podium. But yeah, you know, it's a special place to drive, especially as a Hoosier, right? This is the hometown track for me and for Dad, and so for him here today to try and close this thing out. Yesterday, or Friday I should say, didn't quite go their way, had to make that pit stop, which he was joking, it was his first professional pit stop. Not drawn up, of course, but here he is in the yellow Mini, Bruce Marine. We'll see what he can do here in his final start, of course, of the season, and we'll see what the future holds, but final guaranteed start for him here in TC America. Let's look at the way the field will line up here for the season finale for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. On the front row, Celso Neto, who's on a hot streak to close out the season. He'll start alongside champion-elect Chris Walsh there on the front row of the grid. Cameron Steller back in third, Cooper Brohl alongside. He's had a good, strong finish to his season as well. Aaron Kaplan and Krista Freitas make up the third row of the starting grid here today. Fourth row, that's where we get into the TC class cars. Jeff Rica and his teammate Sally McNulty on the front row. A couple more Hyundais from that Rica Autosports stable. Connor Attrell and Ron Zaris starting back in row 5. Then it's Vinanatra and Scott Thompson in the first of the minis. Chris Valdez and Christian Pericarpi starting in the 7th row. That's the end of the TC class. Then we get to TCA as the class signs off here this weekend. PJ Gronke, he is the champion, but he's never won here at Indy. He'd love to check that box today. Alex Garcia starts alongside. Then it is Bruce Marine and Canadian Touring Car champion Alain Lausier starting out in the 4th spot. And out back on the field, Andy Sellers. It's his first weekend of pro racing. He had a tumultuous Friday with a couple of punctures, a speeding penalty as well. He said he felt like he got all the experience he needed in race number 1. He's ready to go in his second start in TC America today. One last time, we're about to turn him loose in 2024. The lights are off on the safety car, and that will put the field in the hands of the Brazilian, now living in Florida, Celso Neto, who came out on top in a thrilling duel with Chris Walsh one day ago. Acura Integra to the left-hand side of the screen, BMW M2 to the right-hand side of the screen. That is your front row, and it will be 2 distinct starts, 2 waves, with the TCX cars coming through first, followed by TC and TCA in a combined start in just a few moments. The Roval Pole Award winner, Celso Neto, approaching the VP acceleration zone, and we wait for him to stomp down on the loud pedal and get this final race of the season underway. There's the green flag. Great getaway from the front-wheel drive Acura Integra. And now it's a 3-wide battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, with Cooper Brohl making the aggressive move around the outside. Steller to the inside, and the champion Walsh sandwiched there in the middle.
Yeah, he did a really nice job recovering there. Just didn't go on the gas when Neto went. And he suddenly was swamped there by the 2 cars around his ears, and there we see the TC start.
Yes, we do. Battle is on for the 2nd spot in TCA at the back of this field, with Bruce Marine looking to the inside of Garcia. Now he's got Lausier sweeping around the outside. In the meantime, Christian Pericarpi aggressive on the start here. He had a very short race on Friday, had some mechanical gremlins that caused him not to set really a representative lap time. That's why he started at the back of the grid today, and he's already made up a number of positions. He's already knocking on the door of a podium in this silver Mini.
Yeah, bold move there on Ron Zaris to take that position away, so he's on the attack, and as DJ alluded to, if they can keep these Minis reliable, they have pace here this weekend.
Christian Pericarpi racing on home soil. He desperately wants a win at his home track. He lives not far from here, just west of Indianapolis. Young man who grew up going to his father's race shop, dreaming of being a race car driver one day, and he's made that dream a reality over the last few years. Next bucket list item to check off the list is a win right here at the Brickyard. Side by side, Scott Thompson coming under pressure here. I think it's Vinanatra that he's fighting with. Then comes through to take that position for Scott, who's come a long way in his first season of pro racing. He's doing double duty this weekend, ran a couple Mustang Challenge races already in the weekend, wrapping up his season here today. Neto controls the field from the pole position. It's a 0.6 of a second advantage over Chris Walsh.
Yeah, nice recovery there by Chris Walsh. We saw him just, Neto got the jump on him. Walsh really did a nice job to break in the middle of the road, give everyone a little bit of breathing room through those first couple of turns. But Stella's kept with this group here. Looks like he's got some pace here this morning.
Learned a lot, I have to imagine, in that first race, and we saw his pace get better and better as the race went along. Now he's got a couple of drivers he can measure himself against. He's right there, tucked in behind the champion-elect, and Cameron Steller for this Fast Track Racing Eagles Canyon team, looking really, really good.
Roland Kaplan hanging tough here this morning as well, so we'll wait to see everyone get into rhythm. Cool start here. Tires are taking a while to get up to temperature, get the grip for these drivers. I tell you what, Neto is looking comfortable out front. And maybe he's just got to manage those tires a little bit more than he did the other day, because suddenly he was getting a lot of attacks from Walsh in the last 5-10 minutes of this motor race.
And he knew to expect that. Talking with him earlier in the weekend, it was pretty clear that he felt he needed to get to the lead and hopefully build a gap, because he thought that BMW would come alive in the second half of the race. Here comes Pericarpi looking for third, and he takes it. Bold move to the inside in turn 12, but put Christian Pericarpi up another spot.
That is not easy to do into that corner. It's got a real subtlety with the camber of the road as you turn in there, and it's very easy to get that right front unweighted as you're turning it in, but he managed that beautifully. He's on the attack here. McNulty is just up ahead of him.
That's the next target. Sally having a really strong season. She's been a fixture on the podium.
So unlike the other day, she got that call for the jump start, otherwise she could have had another podium run there. But she's got pace here this weekend, running in P2 behind the team leader and team boss, Jeff Ricker.
Carpi has reeled her in, Borla exhaust sponsorship on her Hyundai, and she's forced to go on the defensive here because Christian's got her in his crosshairs. Looking really strong in the opening stanza here. Christian Pericarpi, they've got that Mini tuned in for this season finale, and he's got second place just out the windscreen.
See how the two marks compare down the straightaway. He's hanging right there, looks to the inside, gets down. Sally turns in. Christian has to use a little bit of the curb now. She gets turned.
The two come together. Sally slides into the tire barrier. Not sure how they're going to look at that one. For the moment, though, Pericarpi up into second, but Sally McNulty, what a setback for her. She had a great run going, running up in second.
She really did. Christian was forceful down to the inside, but he got up on the curb to give her a little bit of room. Sally sort of like, I think she's turning to the left. Christian was obviously struggling to keep the car far enough left to not get to the side of the Hyundai there.
I said it put Christian into second, but it didn't. Trell was actually able to get back around with those two coming together. So Trell back into P2.
That's a tough one for the stewards there. I mean, they may lean it towards incident responsibility on Christian. You see the damage on the right front corner of that Mini as he comes down the front straightaway there, but I think Sally could have just kept her hands open a little bit longer through that corner. May have allowed them both to coexist there for a moment that was necessary.
Looks like he's got a bit of a tire rub with that fender on the right front. You see the telltale signs of smoke coming off of that right front. Pericarpi continuing to hustle that car, though.
Christian's aggressive. He's never afraid to get his elbows out and be forceful. But I think right there, you know, he got up on the curb. He realized he's a little bit late with that braking move. Couldn't quite finish it off as Sally was turning in. And as he came off the corner, they were just too tight there. I think Sally was actually thinking of coming a big back left to set up for turn 8.
It is under review, that incident. As soon as we get a message from race control, we'll pass it along. But Jeff Rica continues to lead in class. The gap is now 5 seconds back to this battle we're watching right here between Trell, Pericarpi, and not too far behind. Zaris looking pretty strong here too. Running a partial schedule here this year. He's had a long-time presence with the Hoonigan brand and in the automotive space, just launched a new initiative called Driver's Era. Did Vin, along with Ron Zaris, those guys, close friends, getting to do this together.
Christian's suddenly looking vulnerable down the straightaway. I'm sure that's not helping the aero efficiency of that race car, but I wonder if he's got something else going on right now, because Trell just took off from him on that stretch. Up front, Neto looking comfortable up front. Walsh gives chase. DJ?
Well, I just had a chance to talk to the LAP and Mini JCW team. They say that they're not worried about anything suspension-wise in that car for Christian Pericarpi. Everything feels good. It's just a little bit of body work that's rubbing against the tire. Their big concern is the radiator is right in that area. They don't think they're losing anything right now, but they're keeping an eye on it.
Thanks for the update. I don't know, that car is off the pace now. Christian just dropped a spot. It does not look to be pushing anymore, so DJ, keep an eye out in that LAP Motorsports pit lane, because Christian might be headed your way here before too much longer.
Yeah, I don't see any fluid coming out from him, but he's definitely dropped some performance here over the last lap. Hyundai's run 1, 2, 3 again in class. Could be another sweep on the cards here today.
That would be big for the Korean manufacturer, which has been in the news as of late, announcing a GTP, well, I should say an LMDH program. They haven't made it clear exactly where they're headed with that prototype, but under the Genesis brand, we've seen Hyundai involved at the touring car level with Gen Racer for a number of years, and then at the TCR level as well. We've seen them in TCA through Brian Herta Autosport. But amazing to have another manufacturer starting to invest heavily in road racing from the grassroots level all the way up to top class prototypes.
Yeah, and they've done it quietly, right? Just kind of haven't jumped in too quickly, really learned the ropes, understanding the marketing value of motorsports, what that can provide for them. So exciting times ahead for that whole group.
Jeff Rika, a big part of that for many years, building these touring cars on behalf of Hyundai here in the States. Racing on behalf of the brand as well, all over the world. Spent some time in the off-season over the last few years going to Korea to race in some domestic championships there. Penalty is issued to Christian Pericarpi for the incident that we saw with Sally McNulty. Let's look at this again.
Yeah, it was tight. I'd call it 60-40. Leaning Christian's way, just unfortunate.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like that car is on the pace anymore anyway, so I guess in some respects makes the penalty a little bit easier to digest. We'll see if Christian elects to come and serve that now, and he does. It's going to drop him well down the order. Tough home race weekend for Christian Pericarpi. Had a lot of learning to do as well in the Mustang Challenge races he was doing. He debuted in that series this weekend here as well. Check back in TCX. Celso Neto's built an edge, and look at this. Cameron Steller, who was on the podium in his first ever pro race, on Friday, I should say, has been able to keep within striking distance of the 2024 champ, Chris Walsh.
Yeah, this is really a great statement that he's making, and could we be looking at next season's championship favorite right there in Steller if he decides to do a full year, because come out of the box, be running this strong is really super impressive.
Walsh has been excellent all season long. Hardly was headed in the first half of the season. Celso Neto's been able to up the game a little bit in the second half of the year. This really does send a message. If Cameron Steller can keep the pace with Chris Walsh, he's got a bright future ahead of him. The slipstream now is starting to look threatening. Walsh has to go on the defensive into turn number 1. Steller to the outside now.
This is great stuff here. Steller is feeling it. Walsh looks vulnerable right now, and if he has to compromise his lines, Ennie's going to allow Neto just to disappear on these BMWs.
I had the same thought. Celso Neto's got to love this. His closest rival for a race win is embroiled in a massive battle right now with Cameron Steller. Some traffic to deal with. That's Andy Sellers from the TCA class. He'll let the leaders come through unopposed into turn number 7. Walsh looks like he managed that a little bit better, and he's got a bit more breathing room than we've seen in the last few laps, but still has a lot of work to do if he's going to keep this hungry youngster behind him.
Taps him a little bit now. He's got to start hitting his marks. You don't want to start doing those shallow entries to the corner. That just costs you lap time. He's got the pressure off for a moment. Let's see what he can do. Let's see how the lap times compare here as they come across the line. Neto right now has the best lap of this race at 1:36.1. Walsh and Stella very close, separate by 100, with Stella just quicker at 1:36.35.
This time by. Neto back that pace off a little bit.
Dropped quite a bit of pace from their fast laps of the day, which is surprising. We typically see these cars very consistent with lap time, so it wasn't traffic induced, so everyone's dropped their pace a little bit as we're digging deeper in this race. Maybe set the pressures a little bit higher to get the energy early.
And give a call to Cooper Broll. He's still in the picture too, 2 seconds or so behind this battle, but hanging tough. If these two start really scrapping amongst themselves, Broll could easily enter that picture. Here he is in the Pied Parker sponsored car. Saw a brief glimpse of Aaron Kaplan in the background behind. And those two typically have been right around one another all season long, but here this weekend, Cooper Broll has had the measure of Aaron.
Yeah, it's been a really solid run for Broll there. You can see him about 10, 12 car lengths back of Stella, so he'll keep the heat on, see if there's any problems for the leader, see if he can jump up onto that podium.
Let's talk TCA. Here is the champion-elect PJ Gronke, adding to his TCB championship from 2017. 7 years later, picking up the TCA crown. Just loves his racing. Spends seemingly every waking hour piecing together the partners required to pursue this passion. Don't know what the future holds for PJ after this weekend, but he desperately wants to get a win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's the one goal that has eluded him over the last few years. Everything else, he's been able to check those boxes. And he has a healthy lead over Alex Garcia, 5.6 seconds right now. That's Garcia in the Skip Barber Racing Honda that runs second in class.
Yeah, I think it'd be perfect for PJ to win here. Indianapolis, you mentioned the other day, it's the only racetrack he hasn't won on so far. So to come through, looked like he was going to win the race the other day, then had that tire issue, took him a pit lane, cost him the victory, and Garcia came through and had that great win for him. I think for Gronke, that would be a sweet feel to the championship year if he could do it here again.
For Alex Garcia, he's just warming up today. This is the first of 3 races he's going to run in succession. As soon as he's done here, he's got the GT4 America race. He's driving with his brother Michael in a Skip Barber Racing School entered Aston Martin there. Not sure who drives first today, if it's Michael or Alex, but that would be a quick turnaround. And then straight out of that race, he jumps into the Toyota GR Cup Series race, their season finale, that concludes track activity here at the Speedway today. So a very, very busy guy. And in third, Alain Lausier, Canadian touring car veteran. He's had some success, won championships north of the border in his home country. He'll let Walsh and Steller come through. But Alain, he saw that TCA would cease to be after this year, had never raced here at Indianapolis before and saw this as his opportunity to get to race at this iconic venue. He's running in podium contention, had a podium despite some dramas for the rest of that team in the first race on Friday. All three classes intermixing here. Alex Garcia using the blinker to point Celso Neto on by. That gives you a reminder of just how production-based these cars are.
Yeah, exactly. Such great stepping stones for grassroots racing. TCA, like you said, for PJ Gronke, he makes so much happen with support from so many partners to be here on the racetrack. As a big step up to that next class. We'll hopefully see him on the grid next year. It'd be a shame to lose him, but it's a big step up budget-wise, so see what we can come up with. But it's really been a great platform for so many young drivers to come through these TC ranks and then move on to GT4 competition as well.
Chris Walsh seems to be another one that's about to do that. He's stepped into GT4 midway through this season with this Karis Kallis race team and shown really well in those opportunities. We've seen drivers like Michael Cooper come up through the touring car ranks. Samantha Tan is another great example. Very nearly won a GT3 championship yesterday, if not for some misfortune. Fuel pump issue, I think it was, that put that car behind the wall for 40 minutes or so. And without that, the year they had, she and Neil Verhagen very easily could have been the Pro-Am champions in Fanatec GT this year. But so many of these drivers do cut their teeth in these lower horsepower cars. It teaches you a lot of good habits, doesn't it, that will help you your entire career.
It really does. You got to really squeeze the performance out of these cars, roll the speed through the corners, think about the details. As Bill Orvland said, the nooks and crannies of the racetrack. You just got to really work this racetrack over, just trying to find the most efficient way as the car changes, as the tire balance and grip levels change. Just try and work out what's the most efficient way of getting the lap time out of the car.
All season long, PJ Gronke has excelled at that. There have been times where Alex Garcia has had the pace to challenge him, but every weekend bar one so far, PJ has won at least one race. VIR is the only weekend where he did not get at least one race win. That could, of course, be the case here, but right now he runs in the lead and in a position to keep that streak alive.
Sure, he's trying to protect those tires. You talked about some changes the teams were making to survive the event. Particularly the Minis seem to be struggling a little bit here on race day one, but so far so good today.
Puff of smoke from the right front of Chris Walsh. He's pushing those brake zones. Cameron Steller keeping pace right behind.
Yeah, Steller's been really strong here today. They're separated by 9/10. They came across the line the last time, and the lap times are very evenly matched. Just nip and tuck, half, tenth either way every single lap at the moment.
We're watching Jeff Rika here, who's firmly in control of the TC class just past the halfway mark. Let's hear an update, though, on the champion-elect in TCX. DJ's got an update on Chris Walsh.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, I just had a chance to talk with Karis Kallis race team, and they're a little bit worried about the battle going on behind them, but they still have their eyes firmly fixed ahead. They said it's been the basic car difference between this Acura and the BMW, front-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive. They think that Acura is going to fade a little bit over time, so they're really focusing in on trying to save their stuff. Last 10 minutes to go in this race, they're going to try to make a push towards the front of the field.
Well, that is where this BMW should excel the second half of this race relative to the front-wheel drive Acura. Celso Neto was aware of that. Here we go. I've been watching this on timing and scoring. Battle for the final step of the podium in TCA. And I'll call him Dad because that's what he is. To the inside of Alain Lausier, and he takes the spot away. He took a 5-second deficit and erased it over the last few laps. And Bruce Marine now up into the third spot.
He's really found his groove here. Last few laps really cut his lap times down and thus closed the gap to Lausier, and now he's got that final podium spot. Let's see if he can hang on to it.
He's been matching Alex Garcia's lap times each of the past few laps. Lozier's not done though. He's going to come back to the inside. These are teammates, side by side into turn one, late on the brakes.
Late but perfect, hits his marks, just releases the brakes, cuts through to the corner. That was really nicely controlled. You could see the car kind of dancing on Bruce there as he let his braking to the very last moment there. Really nicely judged. Gaps is there a little bit there as they come through turn four, but it's tight. Not sure how effective the draft is with these minis.
We're about to find out. Looks pretty strong. Lozier closing in. And we got some traffic coming through. That's Jeff Rica. Jeff clears them into the braking zone. Bruce checks the mirrors. Not under threat that time in the braking zone for 7.
Using the curbs nicely. Beautiful rhythm through this sector here. This is turn 10, important corner. Get the power down. Don't run out too wide. Free the car up. Give it its head.
Alan's not done. He's a savvy veteran. He's got a lot of seat time in minis up in Canada as well as here in North America. That was tentative. He was thinking about making a move to the inside, but that is a high-risk proposition.
Yeah, that's where Bruce made the move on him, but it's a tricky one to pull off as you get deeper and deeper into that brake zone and start to carve the corner.
And now starting to stretch the legs a little bit in that yellow Mini. Back onto the front straightaway. 16 minutes, 46 seconds to go in the season. All of this happening 19 seconds behind class leader PJ Gronke. Alex Garcia about 9 seconds back of Gronke at last check. And he's running 44s. This duo here is running low 45s. Of course, they're also fighting with one another, so that has something to do with it. But Garcia does seem to have pretty strong pace here this weekend.
Bruce has done a great job. Just really consistent, not making any mistakes. Uses a wider line there through turn 4. Tries not to use too much of the curb there. Could maybe straighten out a little bit, shorten the distance. Here we go again, that draft down the back straightaway. He's going to pop to the inside here. It's going to be another braking duel down into turn 7.
And this time, Lozier has the advantage, and the Canadian is back in front. Third and fourth, changing hands back and forth between these two.
Bruce there had to give him a little bit of room there as Lane just started to turn the car over to the left-hand side to set up for turn 8. Good respect between the two drivers. Great little battle going on here for that final podium position.
Special weekend for Dad here as well. His alma mater, where he went to engineering school, Washington University in St. Louis, they've got a presence here this weekend, partnering up with him to some degree. They've got their engineering students out at the racetrack. I know Kevin Boehm and the Random Vandals team was showing them around some yesterday as well. But they've got their Formula SAE car out here at the racetrack, and Dad's out there engaging with some of the engineering students at his alma mater, showing them some of the ways that what they're learning in the classroom can be applied here in the motorsports realm, as he looks again to the inside of Lozier. This time, though, Alan with a comfortable margin, not under any particular threat here into turn 1.
Yeah, Bruce popped out there a little bit early. Could maybe use the draft a little bit longer down the straightaway and make a little bit more of a later move into the inside. This one could go down to the wire. They're so evenly matched. Nothing to choose between them at this point in the race, at least.
Well, Bruce, Dad, whatever I'm supposed to call him, has the advantage of a lot of seat time at this track. He's done multiple 10-hour club-level endurance races here, won one of them, and he's done this race, this season-ending race now a few times. I think this is the 3rd year in one of these minis, so he knows the track really well. Lozier probably has the advantage in car knowledge, the amount of years he's spent campaigning minis with his own team north of the border, and then in partnership with LAP Motorsports in North America, in the States specifically.
It's a real art in terms of letting those faster cars come through without losing too much lap time yourself.
Christian Pericarpi will let the team cars play through. Christian just not having a great weekend. Got that penalty, had the contact with Sally. Oh, Lozier got held up there a little bit, maybe slow on the shift as well. That opens the door for, I still don't know what I'm supposed to call it. Bruce, Dad, whatever. Onto the front straightaway, side by side. It's 3 wide to the yard of bricks. The TC car scampers through, but yellow Mini ahead of orange Mini. Down the front straightaway. It's not done yet, though. These two still door-to-door headed down to turn number 1.
Elaine deep on the brakes there. Cars weaving. Bruce tries to take it to the outside. This is going to be tight into turn 2. Giving each other great racing room. This is a fantastic little battle that's developing here. Bruce on the outside. He's got to be careful there. You get out in the gray. Not much grip. Hank's tough around the outside. He's now going to have the inside for turn 5.
Absolutely nothing that Ron Zaris could do about that. Lozier forced to go through the shortcut there. Doesn't gain any advantage, but will be warned. Here comes Zaris, though, around the outside, and again it's 3 wide with out-of-class traffic. This is for 3rd and 4th, final step of the podium here in Indianapolis in the season finale. Cars squirming around, under-braking. The brakes will be worn out at this stage. The tires will be past their peak. Drivers pushing for all they can here in the final 12 minutes of the season.
This is so cool. It looks like they're both gaining more and more confidence, finding the limits of these race cars here this morning.
I'll enjoy it when it's over.
This is good stuff. We'll call him Bruce Wayne by the end of this one.
He's got his cape on right now. He's got some help in the pit area. Longtime friend and mentor in racing, Dan Fargo, is here as volunteer help. So shout out to you, Dan. Took us both under his wing when we went Spec Miata racing a decade or so ago. Lozier gets a great run onto the front straightaway. Bruce felt vulnerable, so he guards the inside, but Lozier gets that move made well before the brake zone into turn 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say maybe he's got a little bit more speed down the straightaway. It seems like he can draft up on Bruce a little bit easier than Bruce can on him. But not much to choose between them.
Elsewhere, just to keep you updated, Celso Neto leads Chris Walsh by 2 seconds.
Big slide.
Here we go again. Who's going to take the shortcut this time? I think that was all right. I think he had
for sure
tires on the curb, so that's A-okay. So the battle continues.
He was entitled to a free pass anyway, right? Based
sure.
on what Lozier did earlier.
More traffic to contend with. How will this affect this battle for 3rd? As mentioned, Neto still leads overall.
Watch this slide here in turn 4.
Wow. And counterintuitively, in these front-wheel drive cars, the key to getting out of that is mashing the gas.
That's right. They're still at it.
I can guarantee they are having fun.
Oh boy, I bet the smiles are big.
Now these are traditional 5-speed H-pattern gearboxes, and something that the engineers have been working with all of these drivers on is shortening those shifts. That's something they saw in the data that PJ does better than the rest of this group. That transition time between gears is shorter. Bruce again to the inside of Alain. Alain now will try the outside lane. Again, they give each other racing room. Again, they go side by side through 1 and 2. Just a reminder, this is the best battle on track. That's why we've been following it. It's not just nepotism. Whoa, Alain goes wide.
It's the second mistake he's made there in consecutive laps. Just keeps it together. This gives Bruce huge breathing room, relatively speaking, to how this race has gone so far.
And Christian Pericarpi in the pits. They're taking the right front wheel off. And that might be a sign of something bigger wrong with that race car. Really frustrating weekend for Christian. You feel for him. He had a lot of expectation on himself here for his home race. Celso Neto, did he drop a wheel
He
there?
did.
We've seen the best do that, though, it's worth noting. Lauren Heinrich about threw it all away while we were riding on board with him during the 8-hour yesterday.
We did. You really just, you see all of the drivers come way back over to widen that entry for turn 7, but if you drop the wheels in the dirt, gives you a bit of a moment. And we're seeing Ricker just another dominant display here. What a championship year he's put together. Indianapolis, bit of disappointment last year to just come up short in the championship, but it's rewarding him this year, looking for his 9th victory on the season.
One thing about this, that curb goes away, you know, and you're not quite done with the braking zone when that curb disappears. And I wonder if that's what's caught some of these guys out. You can get over there and use the curb under braking.
Well, you turn in right at the end of it, but
Right.
if you're a little bit late and as you're turning in, you load up the right rear in the dust. It gives you that little moment. You have to catch it.
We're seeing Rico right now. He's caught Chris DeFreitas. We had a great weekend at Barber. Great to see Chris get up on the podium. Took advantage of a rough day for a couple of others. He continues to learn. Finally had a chance to meet him. He's a doctor down in Florida, in the Miami area, and is just loving this experience. This is something he kind of stumbled into later than some of these folks that he shares the grid with. Still has a lot of years ahead of him in racing if that's what he wants to do. But his smile is broad anytime you have a chance to chat with him about this opportunity here with the Racer's Edge team.
It's one thing just to experience the sport, but then to do it on the world's biggest motor racing stage. It's like a golfer suddenly having an invite to Augusta. You know, you just watch so many races over the years at this racetrack. Finally, you compete on it. It's a special, special place.
And you can play golf here too, if you're so
true.
inclined. 4 holes of the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course are actually located inside the grounds of the Speedway. You've played there, right?
Had a couple of rounds there. It's a very enjoyable course, and as you would expect, immaculate, great conditioning, and, a good challenge.
Pete Dye designed the course as well. And one interesting tidbit in how that golf course relates to the racetrack and the grounds here at the racetrack. When Roger Penske bought the Speedway, he actually took the grounds crew from the golf course to start looking after the grass around the circuit as well, just to give you an idea of the eye for detail that the captain has. Oh, this is really close here. Walsh under pressure from Stellar, let's not forget. This is for position. Second and third, the 2 BMWs forcing their way through past Alain Losier, and they're about to do the same thing to Bruce Marine here. Heavy on the headlights is Chris Walsh. He sends it up the inside, and Rinka has come to the pit lane from the lead in TC with just 5 minutes to go.
Wow, this will promote a trail up into that first spot in class. Could get McNulty after that little argy-bargy earlier in the race up into a podium position as well.
Connor Attrell, the Canadian, who is another one, along with Losier, who has some experience in the Canadian Touring Car Championship. He's raced for Hyundai Canada on a number of occasions. Finds himself in the lead of the race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. This is Jeff Rica into the pits, and the hood pins come out, the hood goes up, and what has been a near-perfect season for Jeff. Thankfully, the championship was already taken care of, but this has to be frustrating. By the way, look at the bottom of the hood. If we can get a shot at that. This is the car that was, the chassis that was on fire at Barber, and you can still see
The singes.
the singe, yeah, exactly, from the flames that engulfed this car, and they were hard at work even when this car was here on site at Indy, preparing it and getting it ready to go. It's been fast all weekend long. We're under 4 minutes to go in this one. Let's learn more about what's beset Jeff Rica now with DJ.
Well, Ryan, he said he was driving and it just felt like something popped off underneath the car, so they're taking a full look under the hood. This is not the way that Jeff Rica wanted to end this race, nor the way he wanted to spend his birthday, because it's today.
Well, That is tough. He'll be happy to see a customer win, at least as they run, and it still looks like it's set to be a Hyundai 1-2-3 sweep of the podium with Zaris and Anatra in second and third. Mentioned a moment ago that Ron and Vin just launched a new initiative, Driver's Era. It's a lifestyle brand around driving. Encourage you to check that out. Really nice guys who are so excited to get a chance to race here this weekend and show that guys from the car culture side of things, they can race too. It's not just about doing fun tricks with cars or sitting around talking about the updates you made to them. They can drive as well, and they've had that on display all over the course of the season when they popped in and out of the championship. And this is PJ Gronke. You see all the stickers on the car. Cal, we've talked about it before, just the amount of work he does to piece together all of these partners that makes this racing program a possibility, and now a championship as well.
Oh, just lives and breathes this sport. It takes so much effort to make this come together for him, and he's such a great personality. Wonderful to hear him in his numerous victory lane interviews with Amanda this year. He's just so joyful and loves this game and brings so much return to the relatively small investments that all of his partners are making, but he makes a little go a long way.
He sure does. Doesn't do any testing. Does exactly the minimum, right, that you need to be on the grid and be competitive. The passion can take you places in this sport. PJ Gronke is living proof of it. We'll be seeing the white flag next time by for Celso Neto, who's had a very quiet run in stark contrast to the race on Friday, where he was door-to-door with Chris Walsh for seemingly the final 20 minutes of that race. He comes out of turn 14 and he'll see the white flag for the last time in the 2024 season. Celso Neto from Brazil. It won't be a championship season, but he has a chance to end it with a bang, a sweep here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, just incredible how they turned that car around, turned it into a race winner. Celso is a real talent. We've seen so many moments where he's just willing to put it all on the line. Great car control, very determined young man. He's going to be going places in this sport.
Wonder what the next step is for him. Graduating up to TCX this year. Not sure if it took him a little time or if it just took the team and to a degree the sanctioning body too a little time to get this Acura in the right window relative to the BMW. But from the midpoint of the year on, whoa, he tried to move back online and PJ Gronke was still there. That was very nearly a disaster for the two class leaders.
Yeah, that was either very finely judged or a mistake. I'm not sure which one, but they got away with it.
They did. Bullet dodged.
Talk about that run that he's now had, looking at 6 out of the last 8 races, he has taken the victory.
Sets him up for whatever is next with a lot of confidence, I'm sure. Here he comes through turns 13 and 14. One last time in 2024, the TC America Championship, powered by the Skip Barber Racing School, and it's the Skip Barber Racing School car driven by Celso Neto that sweeps the weekend at Indianapolis. Neto goes 2 for 2 at the Brickyard. PJ Gronke caps off a championship season with a win at Indianapolis. He's now won at every racetrack on this TC America schedule. And we just wait now for Connor Luttrell, the Canadian who inherited the lead when his team boss, Jeff Ricca, hit trouble. Quaker State sponsorship on that car. Just a couple of corners to go, and race win number 1 of his career is just around the corner. What a season for Hyundai. They win the Manufacturers Championship. Rika Autosport and Racer, all the work they do to prep these cars. They have been reliable, they have been fast. Multiple drivers have scored wins in them. with Iglesias and Rica both taking victory at various times, and you're about to add another name to the list. The final race of the 2024 season goes the way of Rica Autosport, Gin Racer, and across the yard of Briggs, Connor Attrell is a race winner in TC America, powered by Skip Barber.
Wow, that's going to be a special day for him. Hyundai's again very strong. Jeff Rick had that technical issue, opened up the door for Attrell to take the victory.
And if you're going to win a race, you might as well do it here at Indianapolis.
Concludes what's been a tremendous TC America season.
It has been. Even though the championships were decided before the finale, we've had some great scraps, wonderful stories to tell all throughout the season. Drivers coming in and out of the series, impressive debuts. Cameron Stellar, how good has he been here this weekend? I hope that is the first of many times we'll see him. And then for PJ Gronke, the long-awaited second championship. He said he needed validation of his first title that he won back in 2017. He's had to wait a little while for it, but he's checked that box. He's now won at every track on the schedule. PJ Gronke will sign off the TCA class as a champion. Let's look at how this race finished provisionally. Margin of victory, 4 seconds or thereabouts. Celso Neto back to Chris Walsh. Cameron Stellar only a couple seconds further back. Did a great job to hang with the TCX champion Walsh over the course of this weekend. Cooper Pro and Aaron Kaplan round out the top 5 in TCX. Connor Attrell, he's the winner in TC. Ron Zaris and Vinanatra are 8th and 9th. And of Scott Thompson just off the podium in the 4th place. Sally McNulty had that contact early on. She had a chance for a good result, and actually, based on her pace with that misfortune for Rica, had there not been the contact, there's a very real chance she could have been in a position to get the race win. And in TCA, how about it? PJ Gronke, another championship for him. Caps it off with another race win. Alex Garcia, a strong run to second. Bruce Marine comes out on top in that duel with Alain Lozier for 3rd, that we followed for much of the race. Well, there is the celebration for Celso Neto.
Flag, baby.
A great way to conclude this season. There is PJ Gronke.
What an Indy! Yes! 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 Final TCA champion. Give me my belt, boys. Thank you for everything.
I am looking forward to that speech at the banquet tonight.
Yes.
Awesome.
Careful with the dismount there,
be
PJ.
Careful. Be careful.
I love Minnie. Thank you so much for everything, guys. Thank you. This is the ultimate. I'm going to kiss those bricks finally. Thank you, everyone. To all the fans, to all my sponsors. Thank you. We're #1, baby.
We'll hear from PJ Gronke a little bit more in a moment, but first, let's hear from Celso Neto with DJ.
Celso, another victory here at Indianapolis. You just came out of that car like a cannon and came out of the start like a bullet. What a great race.
Thank you, yeah. We knew yesterday it was going to be tough on the tires for the entire field, especially after an 8-hour race. Track was super dirty, super hard. That race was really a lot about keeping my head on me, not running more than I had under me a grip. We did just that. We kept the pace under us, managed lap traffic well. A lot of moments you had to check up before to get a better run for lap traffic. So it was really a race, a lot about mindset, and I'm happy with that. I think my team, Honda Racing, HRC, everyone that really helps me out, all my sponsors, AMED, Praga Karts. It was a really great weekend. Sweep at Indy. What an amazing word to say it, right? But yeah, cannot be happier. Thank you to everyone who supports me, all my fans, sponsors, and the team.
There was some speculation up in the booth about you making the jump up to TCX this year and how fruitful that has been. Speculation about 2025. Anything you can share?
We'll have some stuff coming up, but yeah, excited for the future. That's all I can say. It was a great year. We really learned a lot developing this car. That's all I can ask for as a driver that's developing my career. And yeah, 6 wins last of 8. Speaks for itself.
It certainly does. That is your double victor here at Indianapolis. Now we make our move over here to your TC class victor, Connor Attrell, as he gets all ready to go. Big smiles here from Connor. You got a victory at the world-famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Dream come true. I'm just super happy to be here representing Hyundai, Quaker State, and bringing it home for the team. Another podium lockout.
Another podium lockout. I think that shows you just how much this team has come and just how strong it is.
Oh yeah, and all the shouts out to Rica Autosport and Jeff, trying to chase him down. Got a little lucky on this one, but I'll take it. You know, that's racing.
That's racing. Another victory here, another great victor for Connor Attrell. And now we head over to perhaps the happiest man of the moment, PJ Gronke. PJ, I heard you slap the car and say victory at Indianapolis, baby. Does it get better than this?
Absolutely, DJ. It does not get any better than this. To win at Indy, to finish off our championship season on the top step, to finally have that opportunity to kiss those bricks. Oh my Lord. I really can't thank all my sponsors enough for everything. Joseph Gas, Alitha, Tundra, TalentNet, Eventscape, Cabanos Cheeseburgers. I love all you guys so much. The series, the people, the final TCA champion. To top it off, it doesn't get better than this.
It certainly does, and that may be the biggest smile I've seen here on pit lane, Ryan.
That's PJ Gronke for you. Final TCA class champion gets victory at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in race 2 and the season finale. A look back on the final race of the season for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Big moment early in the going. Sally McNulty, Christian Pericarpi, a couple of front-running cars in the TC class, both eliminating from contention in that moment. Cameron Stellar, what an impressive debut for the young man. He was able to keep the champion-elect honest over the course of this 40-minute race, settled for another podium result, but he did so in a way that got everyone's attention. Jeff Rica looked to have the TC class in firm control. TCA, what a fight for the podium spots we had here. This was 3rd and 4th. Bruce Marine, Alain Lozier going back and forth for 10 or 15 minutes in the middle part of this race. You just couldn't take your eyes off of it. Huge save here from the Canadian veteran. Ultimately, though, it did open up the door for Bruce to come through and take the 3rd spot. Final 5 minutes, Jeff Rica called to the pit lane with a mechanical issue that opened up the chance for Connor Attrell to come through. He would go on to take the victory. PJ Gronke firmly in control. He was not challenged today in the finale. What a season it was for TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Hope you enjoyed our coverage all year long. Looking ahead to 2025.